Hey there, everybody. This is Evan's Easy Japanese. My name's Evan Rogers. I apparently introduced myself as my website. That doesn't make any sense. I am Evan Rogers, and I am here to teach you about verbs today. I know we've been doing a bunch of JLPT N5 lessons recently, but one thing you're going to notice when you're going through all of those is that it's like, hey, here's all these verb forms, and nobody's ever taught them to you, possibly. So I'm going to try to give you guys the breakdown of Japanese verbs in. We're going to focus on how to mess with them, not necessarily how they work or what they mean, but we're going to focus on how you can categorize them, the rules on changing them. So before we begin, I want to talk a little bit about English. Think about the English word, go. Okay, so I go to the store. You hear that and you might be thinking, that's a dumb sentence. Evan, can't you think of a better sentence? But what you could also think is perhaps something like, every day, Evan goes to the store. And you're going to be like, that makes sense. I go to the store every day. Or I go to the store every Friday. Or I go to the store Thursdays. Or it could just be, I go to the store. It might just be a fact that you say, yes. Do you ever go to the store? Yes, I go to the store. Okay. That's also a perfectly fine translation of I go to the store. But you might notice it has two meanings. Going further, did you notice when I asked you the question? Well, I asked myself the question. I was like, hey, Evan, do you go to the store? Where in the flaming bleep did the word do come from? Why is it do? Do you come from the store? Yes, I do go to the, or not come from. Do you go to the store? Yes, I do go to the store. We don't generally say the do in the positive sentence that isn't a question. We generally just say, I go to the store. But we can say, I do go to the store. It's almost like I'm correcting something that you said incorrectly. So as you'll notice, we put this weird word in front of go, and it changes the meaning of the verb. I go to the store. I do go to the store. We can do something else that's crazy. We can add a different word than do. I will go to the store tomorrow. Notice it's a future idea. Or I can go to the store. I should go to the store. I would go to the store. Maybe not countless, but there's a long list of words we can put in front of go, and it changes what go actually means. I go to the store. I do go to the store. I will go to the store. I can go to the store. I should go to the store. I would go to the store. Whatever else there might be, I can't think right now. Okay, next. This is even crazier. So we're all familiar with the word go, and then we're like, hey, yesterday I went to the store. Try teaching this to a Japanese person or like a little kid who doesn't understand that he should just shut up and memorize things. Why does G-O-G-O turn into went? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, unless you go through the annals of history from Attin Diggity Ukak. Does the idea that go turns into went make any sense whatsoever? But it does. Shut up and memorize. Sorry, that's the way it works. So, yesterday I went to the store. I will went? No. I can went? No. I do went? No. Oh, well, if we ask a question, I did go. Wasn't the word went? Why did it turn into did go? That doesn't make any sense. Yesterday I did go. That is acceptable, and it's once again the past. Actually, what we're doing is we're past tensing do to did. We're turning do into did, and we're saying, well, I did go to the store. You thought I did not go to the store, but I did go to the store. And what I'm telling you is that I did go to the store. Okay? So once again, basically, we can't put anything in front of went, is what I'm trying to tell you. That's an actual, basically a rule. There might be something that I just can't think of, but we basically don't put any word in front of went. And going further, we have the word gone. The word gone, G-O-N-E, go, went, gone. Once again, where did this word went come from? Gone. This is another form of the verb go. Gone is what's called the past participle. And what it does is nothing really special unless we just throw other words in front of it. I have gone. I well, the word go doesn't quite work, but if we switch it to eat, ate, eaten, we could say the hamburger was eaten by the monkey. Why not? So the past participle can make the passive idea, and it can make the kakobunsuke kakokanryo. What's that called in English? The I have done something feeling. Sorry, I don't know what it's called in English, actually. I teach this stuff in Japanese, not in English. If you want to learn English from an English speaker, I can teach you, but I got to start studying what they're called in English. Okay, now let's throw another wrench in there. Let's make them all negative. I did go, I do go, I went. Notice how we have to add the word not in there. I do not go. I will not go. I should not go. I would not go. I feel like a Dr. Seuss album. I could not go. I should not go. I did not go. Notice how for the negative, went, we have to say did not go. Gone. I would not have gone. I will not have gone. I have not gone. The cake was not eaten. Sorry, I have to switch verbs to be able to do the past, the kakokanryo. So the negatives change. And then we deal with the entire situation with questions, which I already went through. Did you go? Do you go? Can you go? Will you go? Should you go? Notice how did you go sounds just like the rest of the sentences, but it's actually past tense. And so went seems almost worthless. Have you gone? Was it, once again, we have to switch to eaten. Have you eaten? Was it eaten? And things like that. Okay, so as you just saw, that's how English deals with verbs. Okay? That's how English deals with verbs. If you've noticed, or if you've paid any attention to English, none of that makes any sense. It's just memorize it and shut up. Play, played, played. That's easy. Okay, now let's do go. Go, went, gone. Gone is kind of okay. Eat, ate, eaten. How about the word put? Put, put, put. Set, set, set. Sit, sat. You almost want to say sut, but the answer is sat. I sat him down. He was satin down. I guess you don't ever say that. Anyway, as you can see, English is crazy. Japanese at first seems crazy because all those verbs like ikimasu, kikimasu, aimasu, tabemasu, okonowaremasu, tabesaserarechatta, and things like that. You start saying that and you're going, oh my god, that's insane. I don't want to learn this language. Blah. It's way more organized than English. Way more organized than English. Like super mega crazy organized compared to English. English is literally insane. I don't know how I know this language. The fact that I can speak English is a freaking miracle. I do not think I could learn English if I spoke a different language. I'm that dumb. Well, English is that hard. Okay, let's look at how nicely organized Japanese is. Okay, so this video is actually going to be nothing but identifying the 4 verb groups. Okay, that's all we're going to do in this one. We're going to identify the 4 verb groups, okay? You're going to hear me call them group 1 verbs, because that's how I learned them, or consonant verbs, or godan verbs, or they're even sometimes called u verbs, okay? So these are like all the different names for what I call group 1 verbs. You might be wondering, hey, Evan, why are you using Microsoft Word for something that would be way better in a PowerPoint? And the answer is I was going to make a book and I've been working on it, so I'm giving you a sneak peek because this is important for if you're trying to do the JLPTN5. The next group, I call them group 2 verbs. They're also called vowel verbs. They're also called ichidan verbs because there's only one step. The dan here, go dan, 5 steps. Ichidan, 1 step. They're also called ru verbs. So any of those names you're going to hear me say. Then we have special verbs, or I should say also called group 3 verbs. I don't have editing. I need to enable editing. Oh, and it changes. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, sorry, you might have noticed things change. That's because when I hit enable editing, it screwed everything up, and I wanted to edit that out there. Okay, so also group 3 verbs could be called easily irregular verbs. Because indeed the way that they change what they do is very irregular. And the last one, I have heard no other name given to these verbs other than special polite verbs. If you're out there and you know a different word for these verbs, please let me know. I will include it in this. Okay, so Japanese verbs, on the other hand, so compared to English, we just went through that entire thing of English. Japanese verbs don't change in the front with the do go, will go, went, all that have gone, and things like that. They change on the back end, and they change in a specific order, a very regular order, and you'll get used to thinking about it like this. It's almost like you're plunking, like there's your verb, and then there's a bunch of cups that you want to give meaning to. And whether or not you say, yes, it has this meaning, when you, it'll change its form. That doesn't make any sense. We'll get to it. It's almost like you're just saying, it has this meaning, it has this meaning, it has this meaning, not this one, not this one, not this one, but it does have this one. And then you could put it through this mathematical function making machine, and it'll make your verb for you. It's very robotic. Okay. That being said, we got the four verbs. Okay, let's just go down here. So how to identify them. Indeed, unfortunately, you do just kind of have to memorize which verbs are which. There are a few things that can help you. If you only know the mas form and you don't know any other form of the verb, it will be very difficult to know for sure whether or not a verb is a group 1, group 2, group 3, or a special polite verb. Okay, but let's go through here. We want to identify, here's how you identify group 3 verbs, okay? The irregular, the weird guys, okay? This is shut up and memorize. That's it. There's kimas, kuru. If you ever see kimas, kuru, this kanji, or any formation of these, you know immediately it is a group 3 verb. And shimas, suru, another group 3 verbs. Those are the only 2 group 3 verbs that exist. You'll notice here I'm calling them distal style and direct style. The direct style is the mas form, and the direct style is just the u sounding form. So kimas, shimas, and then the direct style are the kuru and the surus. Okay? That's it. Those are the only 2 group 3. Memorize those 2. Boom. You have every single group 3 memorized. Awesome. I then went on to talk about the copula, but we're going to ignore the copula. That just means like des, da, de, aru, and all that sort of stuff, okay? The copula is very confusing, but I want to explain very emphatically that des is not really a verb, no matter how much it looks like one. It's not really a verb. So des is not a verb, and I wanted to spell that out right here. Once again, this isn't finished, so it's in a dumb order. All right, let's check out the next one. Identifying the special polite verbs. The special polite verbs, okay? There's only 5 of them. This is another shut up and memorize them. They are exclusively used in ritual expressions or when dealing with honorific speech. All right, let me see if I can just scroll down a little bit better. There we go. Great, awesome. The distal form, when they have the mas or the masen or the mashita or the masho, all that sort of ma-s sound thing, those are your distal forms. We have irashaimasu, gozaimasu, like as in arigatou gozaimasu. You might, this is like the when you go into a Japanese restaurant, they go, irashaimase! That's that verb. This is like arigatou gozaimasu, ohayo gozaimasu, etc., etc. There's also nasaimasu. And there's also kudasaimasu. Believe it or not, this is a verb, that kudasai that you hear at the end of sentences, or just please give to me. That is a verb. It just very frequent, almost never has the mas ending. You'll hear it a lot with the masen, kudasaimasen ka, could you please give it to me? But just mas or mashita, you don't hear nearly as much. Like kudasaimasu, you almost never hear. And to be quite honest, most Japanese people will tell you that it doesn't exist. Oh, they'll tell you it exists, but it's never used. I tend to disagree, but Lord knows I'm not going to tell Japanese people what their language does. Anyway, that's another verb. And then oshaimasu. Okay, so we have go, come, or to be in a location. Irashaimasu, a very ritualized phrase. It replaces iku, kuru, and iru. Gozaimasu, to exist in a location, not moving things. So you notice be in a location and exist in a location. This is for like animals and people. This is not for, and this is for like books. Aru is what it replaces. Nasaimasu, means to do, and it replaces suru. It's an honorific. Kudasaimasu means give to me. It replaces kudasai and kureru, but generally it doesn't actually replace kudasai. It is kudasai. Oshaimasu, to speak, it replaces you. That being said, let's compare them with their direct form, their plain form, their dictionary form. So we have irashaimasu, turns into irasharu. Gozaimasu, gozaru. Nasaimasu, nasaru. Kudasaimasu, kudasaru. Oshaimasu, osharu. You've probably noticed they're called patterns, Evan. That's what they're called. My brain didn't work. Imas turns into ru. You're done. Forget about it. You're done. All I gotta do is take that imas. You just gotta flip to the ru. We got goza imas. Then we got the goza ru. We got the osha imas. We got the osha ru. We got the nasa imas. We got the nasa ru. Somebody make a rap, please. I can't rap. Get that little groovy thing going. You get yourself a beat. All right. Those are your special plight verbs. The group, quote unquote, the group 4 verbs. Nobody calls them that. These 5 verbs, memorize them. You have another group of verbs memorized. Okay? Group 3, memorize. Shimasu, suru. Group special plight verbs, memorize. Irashaimasu, irasharu. Gozaimasu, gozaru. Nasaimasu, nasaru. Kudasaimasu, kudasaru. Oshaimasu, osharu. You're done. Okay? Group 2s. Group 1. So now we're going to identify group 1 and group 2's verb. What's with the names? I explain what the name is, but you don't need to know that right now. I have sort of a rule that'll help you figure it out. If you're in the dictionary form, aka the direct form, the plain form, which is the ones that end in the u sound or the ru sound, not the mas. If it does not end in a ru sound, it is 100% a group 1 verb. Because if you notice in the plain form, suru, kuru, osharu, nasaru, etc., they all end in the ru sound, as do group 2 verbs. Group 2 verbs also end in the ru sound. So taberu, taberu, miru, and there's a bunch of kakeru. Any group 2 verb ends in a ru sound. Group 3 ends in a ru sound. And the special plight verbs end in a ru sound. The only verbs that do not end in the dictionary form in the ru sound are group 1 verbs. So if you have iku or no mu or yobu, it is 1,000,000% a group 1 verb. And if the last character does end in a ru, it's more likely to be 3 or the special guys in the group 3, the group 2s, or the special plights. However, if you know the mas form, I call it the stem. The stem is basically if you have the mas form like no mi mas or iki mas, and you just take off that mas. That's what's left over, the iki mas. Kill the mas, you get iki. That's called the stem, or at least that's what I've been taught is the stem. That is if it ends with a re sound. So, for example, if you have no ru, let's say you have the verb noru. If you have the verb noru, and when you flip it into the mas form, it turns into norimas, which it does. It is a group 1 verb, okay? However, for example, tabemas is taberu, tabemas. There's no ru sound. It doesn't end in taberimas. There's no taberimas. It's tabemas. There's no re sound. Thus, it's almost assuredly a group 2 verb. That is the logical conclusion. All verbs in the direct form that do not end in a ru are group 1. And if it does end in a ru and the mas form ends in a re-mas, it's a group 1. Every other verb is not a group 1. Does that make sense? It's either a group 2 or a group 3 or it's a group 4. That is only true if you remember that oshaimasu doesn't end in a re, but it's not a group 1, right? So remember, memorize those first, the special plight verbs and the group 3 verbs, and then these rules apply. Okay? If it's not osharu and it's oshaimasu, that's going to be, those verbs are your group 4 verbs, your special plight verbs. But if it's osharimasu, it's a group 1. Okay? It needs to have this re sound. Actually, no, this applies even then. What am I talking about? No, this applies even then. Osharu, oshaimasu. It doesn't end in a re. No, never mind. This applies to every verb. This rule right here applies to every verb Well, I guess this part doesn't. It's a group 2 verb or one of the irregular / special polite verbs. Yeah, great. Awesome. Let's add that in. Cool. There we go. Now I can. All right. So here's an example of identifying the verb groups, okay? So you'll see based on the color, there's a different verb form. Okay, so is this coming through? This is getting cut off a little bit. Okay. Sorry it zoomed further out, but we had to make room for all the layout stuff that I have on here. Okay, so the dictionary form is iku. The stem, that is iki mas, turns into take off the mas, you're stuck with iki. It doesn't, the dictionary form doesn't end in a ru, so we don't even need to do the stem thing. It doesn't end in a ru, it's a group 1. Ends in a ru, ends in a ru, ends in a ru. Look, kaku doesn't end in a ru, it's a group 1. Nomu doesn't end in a ru, it's a group 1. Oyogu doesn't end in a 1, it doesn't end in a ru, it's a group 1. Korosu doesn't end in a ru, it's a group 1. Hopefully you see the pattern. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse. So then you'll see that I have yobu doesn't end in a ru, it's a group 1. Okay, great. You'll notice the next easy one is these white ones. So the white ones are just shut up and memorize it. It's a special polite verb, shut up and memorize it. Gozaru, gozai, it's a special polite verb, memorize it. Suru, shi, it's a group 3, memorize it. Irasharu, irashai, because you take off the mas and it's irashai mas, irashai. Itarashai, it's a special polite verb, memorize it. Kuru, ki, it's a group 3, memorize it. Okay, so hopefully memorize these white ones, just mean memorize them. Okay, the remainder of them. Let's look at taberu. Taberu. Okay, so taberu, tabe, the dictionary forms ends in a ru, see taberu. But the stem, if you take off the mas from the mas form of the verb, it does not end in a re sound, thus it is a group 2. Miru, mi, mas, same thing, no ends in a ru, no re, group 2. Deru, de, mas, ends in a ru, doesn't have a re, kill it. Oh, sorry, I was thinking about the verb down here, korosu. I saw korosu, and it's a group 2. Don't kill group 2s. Group 2s are people too. Kakeru turns into kakeru, kakemas. There's no re before the mas, thus it's a group 2. Neru, group, it has a ru. It does not end in a re sound. It's not nerimas, it's ne ru, ne mas. It's a group 2. Hopefully you don't have to go through the whole list. Hopefully you get the pattern. Okay, next. We do have other group 1s that don't follow this pattern. Like, for example, uru. Uru ends in a ru sound. Uru sounds like kangaroo, but I'm not going to go there. Uru ends in a ru sound. However, the mas form is uri mas. So we have the re here. Uri mas, uru. It does end in a re, thus it's a group 1. Other ones that match that color. If you're colorblind, sorry, I don't know how. If you're colorblind and this is difficult to see, tell me how to make it easier for you, because I don't know anything about color blindness. All right, let's go further. Naru, the verb in the mas form is narimas, so it ends in a re, thus it is a group 1. Kaeru, the stem, the kaerimas, kaeri, ends in a re, it's a group 1. However, look at kaeru. Kaeru. See, look how, sorry, these look identical. So that's why I put them together. Kaeru, kaeru. However, the mas form for kaerimas is rimas, and the mas form for to change is kaemas. Thus, this one's a group 2, and kaerimas is a group 1. Okay? Kawaru, kawarimas, group 1. Modoru, modorimas, group 1. Noru, norimas, group 1. Huru, hurimas, group 1. Okay? If you see the pattern and you understand this, you now know how to identify which verb group, every single verb you will ever encounter, and there's a huge long list of them. You now know how to begin the important part of... So step 1, identify the verb group. Step 2, learn how to do all the conjugation. They're actually called agglutination. All the agglutination changes. The end. I guess there's only 2 steps. Before you can start doing all the changes from go to went or will go or was going or will have been going or was gone, before you can do all of that, you need to identify one of the 4 groups of verbs that the verb is in. Okay? This is important. You need to know this. You need to memorize this. You need to be able to do this faster than Japanese people can do this because we're not familiar with it. And they are super familiar with it. But when you can just do this, you impress every Japanese person. I just blurt this stuff out of their mind boggled on how I can do this. It's because I sat down, I memorized all the rules, and I practiced the hell out of it. You're going to have to do the same thing. Welcome to the beginning of verb hell. It's not nearly as bad as kanji hell, but it's actually not nearly as bad as English verb hell. English verb hell is god-awfully atrocious. Anyway, this has been Evan Rogers, not Evan Sees Japanese. I am for Evan Sees Japanese because I'm the only one doing this. Please make a donation. Make this worth my time. There's Patreon, paypal.me/EvansEasyJapanese. You can make Bitcoin donations. The link should be in I call it the doobly-doo because of Matt Colville, because I'm a D&D nerd. The video description, I believe it's called. And I will continue making more JLPT N5 videos after this, but this is important. You need to know this, especially if you plan on being able to actually do the JLPT N5. Okay? We'll make another video after this showing you how to conjugate each individual one, and eventually this will be available to people who either want to buy it or donate their Patreon or something. I don't know how I'm going to make this available, but I'm trying to make a series of mini textbooks that should be easy to digest and should be cheaper than an actual $70 textbook. And it'll be available all over the world in PDF form or something like that. Anyway, that's what the goal is. We'll see if I can pull it off. Have yourself a holly jolly day. Peace out.